With me now are Heather Ireland and her son Dimitri. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Dimitri, I want to start with you. About a year ago, you attempted suicide. Can you tell us a little bit about what was going on with you during that time?
Yeah, I actually was struggling with a lot of anxiety and depression. And at the time, I had just been pulled out of public high school and was working on an online high school. And I just kind of felt alone and a little bit abandoned, was the general gist of it.
Okay. So were there signs that you think your friends or your family should have or could have seen in you that would have indicated that you were suicidal?
I stopped going out and I stopped doing things. I was pretty stagnant. I stayed in my room a lot. And I just, I wouldn't and couldn't do the things that I loved anymore.
Okay. Did you know, did any of your friends know how you were feeling at that time?
Well, I didn't. I guess you could say that people were aware that I was depressed because that was something that I'd been struggling with for a while. But the only time anyone knew that I was suicidal was when I sent a message to everyone before I attempted and told them that I was attempting. And one of them called the ambulance and they came and got me.
Okay. What would you do now if someone told you, one of your friends told you that they were feeling like they wanted to commit suicide?
If I could, I would try and be by them because I feel like that's something that I could have used at the time. And I would have called the suicide hotline if I couldn't have reached them, maybe both if I thought it was severe enough.
Okay. And earlier you talked about having anxiety and some depression. What roles do you think that mental illness plays in suicide?
I mean, I feel like they go hand in hand, and I feel like that's not talked about a lot.
Okay.
Not to say that they are the only reason someone might be feeling that they need to commit suicide, but they're definitely large factors in, the want to end one's life.
Okay. And if there was one thing that could have been done to change your mind, was there any one thing?
I think because for me, it was a spur of the moment thing.
Okay.
If someone had just been there to ground me and tell me that it would be okay, it probably would never have happened.
Okay, so for you, being with people is what you really needed. Do you feel like this would ever, you feel like the need to do that again, or do you have those
Not
thoughts?
at all. I mean, I have a very good environment now. I'm on meds that work perfectly for me. I'm doing counseling, going to the therapist, and I am keeping mindful of the things that do upset me and the things that do trigger me, and that helps me, in astronomical proportions. It's just wonderful.
So your life now is really good?
Yes.
And you're feeling like you're in a good place?
Definitely.
Okay. Heather, I wanted to turn to you. How are you feeling? Are you worried for Dimitri that he would ever fall back into that pattern?
Yeah, I don't think that I will ever not be concerned. I will always have that in the back of my mind as far as the fear of almost losing my son. I will always be concerned for him and his mental well-being.
Okay. And as a parent of a child who's gone through this, what advice would you have for other parents who might or might not even know that they have to face this in their life?
I think the most important thing would be to listen to your child, even if they're not talking. Pay attention to things going around them. If they make a threat of suicide, don't just brush it off as teenage drama. Take it seriously, and get help for them and for you. Get professional help.
And also, I had asked Dimitri a little earlier about if there were signs he thought that you or his friends could have seen. Looking back on it, was there anything that you noticed or anything that you think you could have picked up on that might help somebody in the future?
You know, I think for me, the one lesson that I did learn was taking his depression seriously. I don't suffer from depression, and so I didn't understand it. Okay. And so when I was taking baby steps, I guess, as far as trying to help him, but I think I could have done more. I will say that when I got the call that he had attempted, I was shocked. I was along in a group of parents that would think that would never happen to me, but it does. You know, it does. So that's why I say listen to your child and pay attention to them. And
well, I'm certainly happy that we've had a really good outcome. And I know, Heather, that you are leading in East Helena a suicide prevention group. And just real quickly, can you tell us what you're doing in that?
Yeah. We started it in 2016. It was just a group of concerned citizens about the suicide rate in our community. And so we have been just doing community outreach and trying to provide education for parents for signs that they can look for in their teens. Okay,
great. Well, Heather and Dimitri, I want to thank you for coming and sharing a very personal story with us. It sounds like you have a really bright future ahead of you, Dimitri, and I'm pulling for you all the way. So thank you again, both of you, for coming. Up next, learn what's being done to help protect our teens.